No. You know what? You used to be funny. I used to laugh at your stuff, but now you've gone too far.
This is an after-school program podcast.
What key are we in, G?
Yeah. Hey, welcome to Church Stories podcast. How you doing, PD?
I'm doing great. Very special episode today.
Super special episode. This is your boy Shama and your boy PD, and we got Chase, our producer, in the corner. We have a great guest. Talk about a big whale. This is the Moby Dick of guests.
Weight-wise.
No. This guy, you probably heard of this brand. It took over by storm. I remember
really did.
So many people asking me about Preachers and Sneakers. That's our guest today, is Preachers and Sneakers. I don't know if you say your name at all. He doesn't. He's elusive, man. I don't even know how to get to him.
Unless you were at Liberty University that one time, you don't know what he looks like.
So,
and even they didn't even get to see my face either. Only David Nasser got to see it.
Oh, really?
That was an anonymous interview.
What did they? Oh, so wait a second. Where were you? Did you just shuffle in with like a brown paper bag over your face?
No, it was a pre-recorded deal. We went to New York and
Okay.
bebopped around all these sneaker stores, and we did an interview there, and then they blurred out my face like a tool. And
Oh, wow.
So technically I'm anonymous. My fake name is Tyler Jones. My real name will be out in 2 weeks or so. And I, more than anybody, am ready to be done with all that because it is a pointless existence to be anonymous.
Okay.
And,
You said your real name is about to come out.
Yeah. In 2 weeks.
Is this because of the book? You wrote a book. Is this with the book as well?
Yeah, well, the book comes out April 27th, but this
Okay.
will be part of the hey, the book's about to be for sale type thing.
Man, dude.
So you couldn't just be like, the author is, don't worry about it.
I thought about it, but it's honestly like a self-preservation thing. It's like, dude, I can't do another year of this where it's basically like people asking me like, so what do you do for a living? And me being like, I mean, a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Yeah.
And so
I've got to ask.
I'm a meat master.
That's the real
Yeah, I've got to ask you. You don't have to name names, but has a megachurch pastor slid up in your DMs not happy?
Yeah. Several.
Shut up.
And it was not. Yeah, I mean, not as much now because less people care. They just, I think, have come to grips that I exist and that if you wear $2,000 shoes, you're probably going to end up on my page.
Man.
But at the beginning, for the first couple months, all the time. I mean,
Really?
there were several that were super mean. There were a couple that were super chill and cool about it. So the guy that initially inspired me to do everything, Mac Brock, who's not a pastor, but he was the worship leader at Elevation, he was totally chill about it and was not. If everybody had reacted how he reacted, I probably wouldn't have a platform because he was like, dude, this is hilarious. Yeah, these shoes. Come to find out, those shoes were actually borrowed. He borrowed those shoes just for that music video.
What?
But there were several. I mean, I'll name names. I talked with Carl Lentz several times. I've talked with Judah Smith. I've talked with Nathan Finocchio. I've talked with Chris Brown from Elevation, Mac from Elevation. I've talked with who else? Ron Carpenter's wife messaged me one time, all but hurt.
They actually went to the restaurant that I work at.
Dude.
Oh, did
I
they?
didn't say anything.
How did they tip?
How
did they tip?
I should have asked the server who had them, but I just kept
'Cause that
wanting
would
to be
be-
like, I wanted to go up and
I have
pretend
a
to be a big
hunch.
fan. I want to be like, Mr. Carpenter, sir, would you sign this for me?
Could you sign my steak cutting knife, please, Mr. Dude, I've got a great Ron Carpenter story that I've never told.
Please.
I don't even think I've told you
Yes.
about it. Have I told you? I haven't
I
told
don't
any.
know.
It's not on the record. I only have told people face to face, but I'm gonna tell it. So first of all, let me set this up because we didn't do a good job. If you don't know, if you're a fan of us and you're listening and you don't know about Preachers and Sneakers, I don't know how to help you. But anyways, Preachers and Sneakers is an Instagram page that was launched. I mean, 2019?
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
2 years ago this week.
Wow. 2 years ago this week, and essentially you just put up pictures of pastors in extremely expensive shoes. I'm talking the normal person's monthly salary shoes. And man, it just blew up. I remember thinking this is, so I'm anti, that whole culture of megachurch pastor, those freaking fame and faith and all that. I don't. It's so convoluted now that I'm like, where's the head and where's the tail? We just need to chop it in half, right?
Yep.
And so what you were talking about is just like the people who reached out to you and man, that is, first of all, props, man. Like, everybody just seems to cower. Like, there are so many people who, it doesn't matter what somebody has done. There's like this, there's an aura of like honor and respect. And the scripture, touch not the Lord's anointed, even though the Lord's anointed is wearing someone's yearly salary in a wardrobe. And it's kind of like, whoa, we got to touch them. And you freaking stiff-armed and ran all of the Lord's anointed over. And you've been doing it for the past 2 years. So, dude, huge props.
My therapy budget has skyrocketed because of it. Because it's not the easiest thing in the world. Like, I'm a people pleaser type dude. And we don't know each other, but like it's been fun and entertaining and fulfilling, but also like totally stressful, especially like the first few months. Like, people were pissed, like,
man,
like kind of like wanting to the kind of whole honor culture thing. People really feel strongly about their pastors, and if there's any hint of you being like, I don't know about that, people are like, who are you? Who are you? Yeah. These guys will do more in a day than you'll do in your whole life, mother fricker, bro. Who are you to judge, a-hole?
That was Christian cuss. You mother, you. Who are you?
We put up a clip of us reading a passage of Joel Osteen's book.
Yes.
And the hate comments, like, we've never gotten that many hate comments.
And the book
it's always
just as bad as you think. It's not. He says a lot but doesn't say anything, and people are still like, I can't believe he's helped many people. I'm like, where?
There's a few. Yeah, it's funny. People will sit in the background and laugh to themselves until you come for their guy or girl.
Yeah.
And then they'll be like, no, you know what? You used to be funny. I used to laugh at your stuff, but now you've gone too far. Like, I posted about kind of the same thing. I posted about Tim Tebow, I don't know, maybe 6 months to a year ago, completely being sarcastic, like clearly being sarcastic. And I had hundreds, if not thousands, of people like, you do know that he played in the NFL, right? I'm like, yes, dude, I do know that.
Wait, what did you say?
People I posted a picture from his wedding because he was wearing these Gucci sneakers. And I said something like, preacher Tim Tebow wearing the Gucci Ace sneakers on his big day. Next thing you're going to tell me is that he's got other side income or something like basically nodding that I know that this guy played football first and he like barely preaches, but people...
I want to, Tim Tebow fans, in my mind, and nobody can tell me different, they all texted you back doing this. How could you? I can't believe he's a great guy.
It's funny.
He helps
you get
out
to
people.
You get to see who idolizes who because everybody's got their freaking idol. And once you even, like, people always say, your page is so judgmental. You have a page dedicated to judging pastors without listening to the message. I'm like, dude, you're so insecure about your idols that you think that I'm judging people by just saying this dude's sneakers are worth $800.
Yeah, you're just posting receipts.
Yeah,
it's an objective fact that these, if you wanted to go buy these sneakers today, you'd have to spend $600 to buy them. And people, it is loaded. Like 2 years in, people kind of know my stance on some things, but it's interesting how people. If you even just hint at a critique, people will think you're trying to erode the very fabric of Christianity.
What do you think that is? Like, we've come, like, Christianity has come so far, especially like the Western Christianity, which is just a whole different genre. That it's almost like the frog in boiling water analogy, like. Pastors at one point in time, they were like these pious people who would go house to house and pray for people and would bury the people in the town. And somehow they've just kind of gradually just kind of moved up, and their buildings got bigger and cars got nicer and parsonages got bigger. And then all of a sudden the parsonage, the pastor's house, wasn't next to the church anymore. He had like a bigger house and like a second. And then now these dudes are just so blatant. There is one of my favorite YouTube videos. It's just so cringy. It's this pastor in a deposition. Have you seen this?
Yeah, about the Versace budget.
Dude,
he's kind of sweating.
Have you seen this, Chase? No. So there's this pastor being
deposed. Link it. It's insane.
And he, have you seen this?
No.
Dude, it's this black pastor. He's being deposed, and a lawyer
I was going to say
is
that.
going. Listen, you got it. It just paints the picture. He's like this black, like Atlanta pastor, like Southern pastor, and the lawyer is asking him about. It's like, oh, you spent $40,000 at the Gucci store in London. What was that? And he's like, those were clothes for the ministry. I'm on TV a lot. And it's like,
I sweat through them. He said something about sweating through the clothes.
Yeah, I sweat through suits. He's like, I can't buy normal. And then one of the questions,
Buy some dry fit, bro.
dude. One of the questions was like, you paid for 2 Hummers to be sawed in half and to become stretch limos. And he was like, what was that for? And he was like, those are cars for ministers, for guest ministers when they're in town to drive around with. Dude, it is so gross that I don't understand how somebody, because he's still a pastor. Yeah. That's the crazy thing about this whole thing.
Jim Baker walked so these guys could run.
Yes.
And
Jim Baker sold his anointing oil so these guys could sell their books and freaking, I don't know, hoodies.
It's like the whole, and that's what I'm asking you is like, what do you think happened for people to be so blinded that they can look at a pastor being deposed like that, where his word matters and all these things are facts, and he confesses to all these things, to like a 20,000 square foot mansion, justifying it for the minute because the ministry bought it, and it's all tax free or whatever, and he's like, yeah, and people still go listen to this guy, and they still call him like the Lord's anointed.
It's a lot of things, and it is kind of like the frog in the boiling water type deal. I mean, every young person right now that's so extreme, but a lot of young people that grew up in Southern Christianity, grew up in the stuffy pews and judgy grannies and all that stuff, and so clearly want a different experience than standard, like, cheesy Christianity, which I don't blame them. And so as I think an overcorrection, a lot of pastors, youth leaders, all that, in order to get people trying to be more relevant, wearing some True Religion jeans, trying to play a few secular songs, turning their sermons into more motivation, fix your problem type stuff. So there is a major demand for teaching that isn't like our parents and grandparents had. And in turn, it's turned into a lot of extra crap that is irrelevant. So, like, it's very easy to couch whatever you want to do in spirituality. So, like, performing with excellence requires the most ridiculous production and building and sexy worship leaders, and like, you can basically justify whatever you want. And I don't think it's malicious in a lot of ways, but it is, like, in an effort to try to be relevant or digestible or approachable. We have overcorrected so far to where we care so much about aesthetic. We idolize these dudes that are really catchy communicators, and you don't really have to say anything. Kind of like you said earlier, like some of the Joel Osteen stuff. Like, you really don't have to say anything. You just have to touch an emotional point in people that are listening and motivate them to leave saying, oh, I can do it. God wants me to live out my purpose, and I'm going to go find favor, and a bunch of other unbiblical BS. And also I'm going to give to these guys because they're cool. Yeah. And they look like anthropology models. So it's a lot of things. So it even goes into, like, the Trump stuff. And I've even, like, I'm not a super political dude, but the Trump stuff, a lot of the people that grew up and kind of, like, coached me in morality kind of also have been vocal about Trump and kind of being a-holes about the whole thing. And so I think a lot of people are turned off by that, and in turn are looking to these more modern dudes and being like, all right, this is the opposite of what I grew up with.
Yeah.
I'm going to check
and they
these
just
guys.
overlook the Lamborghinis.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and that's been the thing that makes me feel like I'm being gaslit a lot of times. Like, I'm looking around like, dude, are none of y'all seeing how rich these dudes are getting off of basically what I call, like, a self-licking ice cream cone, where they build this platform by preaching tax-free income, tax-free assets, tax-free mansion, everything's under the church's 501c3, and then you write a book on church time, sell it to your congregation that are looking to lead you spiritually, and then go to your buddies' churches and conferences and title your sermon series after your freaking book,
dude,
and then say, I don't take a salary from the church. It's just like, it's not malicious, I don't think, but it's also like, does no one else see that this is a pretty good business model?
Can we
you
clip
guys
that
are getting
just for us
loaded off
to
of
use later?
Yeah, I mean,
Sure.
yeah. Well, the thing is it's also like, I don't think I've talked about it on this show or somewhere else. Like, I grew up Pentecostal Holiness Church, like, so IPHC, so it's like, very speaking in tongues and you
flags
just like
and everything.
Dude, I like ran with a flag at like a camp meeting before. How did you know?
We need to take that entire process that you just laid out, and do it ourselves.
Dude, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you?
Dude, and so ultimately what it's become, it is like this. What movie was I watching? Ultimately, it's like this. It's the perfect loop. It's the perfect loop. You preach. You
Was it Looper?
create another.
Wasn't that a movie?
I don't know what it was. It was like a scam movie.
Wait, who was in that?
Some movie. It was like, what's it called? Bruce Willis.
Yeah.
But it's like you pastor a church. You write a book. Your church buys the book, gives it away. You know what I mean? Your church. You create a worship team and a record label. They sing songs. You sell them. You go to a buddy's church. That you give. Everybody walks into the to the building. There's a chair on each seat, right? They pick up a chair. Whoa! You get to leave with a book for free or whatever, and then it just keeps on going, man. It's like they can't run out. They can't run out of money or resources because it's the machine starts all over again.
To publishers, that's like, why wouldn't you sign up to have a dude with a embedded market? Like,
yeah,
these guys are literally, people look to pastors to lead them spiritually. And in turn, they are naming their sermons the name of their book that they just released. And in turn, connecting what they wrote to basically being a better follower of Jesus. And so it gets real gross real quick. Like, I'm all for profit. Like, I've got my MBA. Like, I'm all for business. I'm all for profit. But it gets real gross when you start convoluting spiritual leadership and commerce. And that's one of the things that kind of really grinds my gears, is basically implying without saying it, like, hey, this is a word from God that God gave specifically me, and it's in this book, and it's $18.99 on Amazon. Also, I don't take a salary from the church, but I got $1 million advance. Like, it gets real gross. And so I think, to go back and answer your question, you asked, like, how do people kind of sit there and continue to give these guys an audience? I mean, I think plenty of people see it as, this guy is doing it different, and he makes me feel good about myself. And who says a pastor can't have nice things? Like, I definitely don't say a pastor can't have nice things, but I do want to question the system that allows you to get filthy rich off of purely preaching about Jesus.
I think if you have charisma, you can get away with anything.
Dude,
yeah.
That
the Bhagwan Rajneesh, the cult leader who had 57 Rolls Royces.
Wild Country.
That documentary was crazy.
Insane.
But it's like the new school of these kind of Pentecostal modern churches is, it's usually just like a husband and wife duo at the top that are essentially like the CEO and COO.
Yeah.
And so all the staff under them, what person in their right mind is going to be like, hey, sir, that writes my paychecks. It seems like you're really profiting a ton off of this enterprise that you're leading. Can you explain that to us? Like, there's just no accountability up there. If it's just like a husband and wife, I'm not implying that they're doing anything wrong, but also look at Ravi freaking Zacharias and Carl Lentz, like these dudes at the top that have zero accountability and running these massive, huge organizations that seemingly bring in hundreds of millions of dollars. Even if people, I guess I'm walking back my original answer. For me, I couldn't sit there and listen to it. Like, listen to the feel good, unchallenging BS, because very quickly it's like, dude, this is rooted in self-help BS. Like, this isn't.
That's what the Joel book that we read was. It was basically like, you just need to wait, and you're going to be a superstar.
Yeah, right.
That's what they all are.
And it's like, and they just list like, you're going to get that job, you're going to get that promotion, your kids will get saved,
God
will return
wants
to
you
Jesus.
To be happy.
Yeah. And it is, another thing too is how I would answer that question. And this is talking to, growing up Pentecostal, like my family, like before, I remember getting ready for school every morning, TBN would be on the TV in the living room.
Yeah.
So it was just, it was Benny Hinn praying for people. It was
Kenny. Was Kenny there?
It was Kenneth Copeland, the man who's worth $700 million. You got to say that every time you say Kenneth Copeland.
The wind of God.
Yeah, what happened? It's been a year, Ken. It's been a
Corona's
year.
still around, numbnuts. Yeah.
Can somebody ask Kenneth to blow again, please? So it's like talking to my mom, who I've been in like the process of deconstruction. I know that's like a cheesy term for ex-evangelicals or whatever,
but it's a real thing.
Yeah, deconstructing all these things and asking questions and holding the Bible up, the Scripture, which they all preach from, and holding it up to these actions that are wrong, and going like, hey, one of these things is not like the other, and
it can't be both.
No, it can't. There's no way. But they don't, like, my mom, like, she doesn't want to be wrong. And that's what hurts the most is people have come so far, and I'm talking about like the generations kind of before us who are still alive. They've come so far that they don't want to backtrack. They don't want to confess to being like, I
your entire
tithed to a
upbringing
church.
was kind of screwed up.
Or like, I gave, and the church just built. I love my church. What do? They just built a bigger building. Every time we outgrew, we built another building, and we donated like 20% of what we made to a parent church by the same name in a different country. So the machine it's so effective, air quotes, that people don't want to be like, oh, there's something wrong with the machine. When
it's
something clearly is.
Speaking of, maybe did you tell the Ron Carpenter story already?
No, not yet. I will.
Okay, all right. Maybe I'll help transition there. The thing that was so telling to me was this whole deal between Ron Carpenter and John Gray, essentially having a church sales dispute, basically where Ron, for all intents and purposes, sold his church to John Gray.
Yes.
And had this multi-million-dollar contract between each other, and both being like in the public eye, public figures. John Gray's got a reality show. Ron Carpenter's got this whole freaking TBN presence and all these leadership talks and everything. And so by signing up to be public figure pastors, they sold, like Ron sold the church to John, and then there was a dispute about who was paying what. Dude. And then it basically makes us all look like clowns because all you see are these two Christians bickering about money between two essential like real estate entities. Really,
Dude.
It's like we're not even talking about church membership.
That church is 15 minutes from where we are right now.
Yeah.
At that. We have a friend who works there, and every time I see him, I want to shake him by the shoulders and like, what is going on over there for the past 2 years since the sale happened or whatever?
Yeah, like on top of that, so like very much in the news, they're having this dispute about, John didn't pay this lease agreement, and John's like, Ron is being basically giving a false representation of our contract that we signed. Ron Carpenter has a $6.25 million retirement clause as part of that church sale. And,
really?
Yeah. Yeah, you can look it up. If you look it up I think it's on the Greenville if you type in Redemption Church Greenville or something, it'll come up.
Dude. One of my favorite things is there's somebody who works for Greenville News here in town. I don't know if they work on staff, if there's like an informant on staff who just constantly just picks up his phone, and in this scenario he's got like one of those old, like a rotary phone. He's like, hello, Greenville News, I got to report something about John Gray.
Greenville News here.
Greenville News, you got a scoop for me?
The informant and the Greenville News person's like, hello, I'm typing as fast as I can, keep talking.
Because it is Greenville Lews that's always reporting it first.
Dude, yeah,
at least about this specific thing.
They don't let this man breathe. One of my favorites was like one Monday or whatever, they reported it was like, Pastor John Gray bought his wife a Lamborghini Urus.
That was right before my thing blew up.
Dude, I called him Lambo Gray for the longest time.
That's like a boxer name.
Yeah. Sounds like an 80s boxer.
Yeah.
Dude, so that was like 1 week, right? For that, and like he's on Instagram, because when I found this out, when I read the article, I was like, okay, well, where's the video? And there's like videos of like, I want to honor my wife, my rib. Here's a car. Happy birthday. And then like the next week, Greenville News printed, because he had stood up at his church on a Sunday morning and said, hey, we need $300,000
for the roof.
To repair the roof. The roof.
See,
It's
it
not
doesn't look
we gotta
good, bro.
repair it.
The luxury stuff doesn't look good, even if it's not fair,
doesn't.
bro. You got to sit your ass up there asking for money from your people after
Dude.
buying luxury goods, dude. You can't have it both ways.
That's
bro.
one of those things where the people, people who still are like, no, yeah, I believe him. He's got some fire messages. I want to sit
Dude.
people down on a carpet like
slap 'em.
kindergarten style. No, I want to sit them down, and I want to freaking put articles or put words up and just circle. Just take it back. Take it way back and just circle and read slowly and then circle and read slowly and
the
then
most
just
patronizing way.
Yeah.
Just
he
explain
bought his wife a
Say it with me.
Lamborghini.
and that cost $400. Okay, and then what did he do the next week? Everybody out loud, because it's people wanna. It's like freaking two extension cords that you ran that they're just barely connecting, and people are like, nah, it doesn't work, and you're like, no. Wait a second, who's wrong here?
Yeah,
Someone is wrong here.
Yeah,
Who's wrong
and it
here?
makes it-
Help me.
It just makes it seem like a clown show.
Yeah.
And if it gets to that point, it's like, dude, you need to do an inventory of how you're representing Jesus and maybe tone it down a bit. Like if you're spending all this time and effort trying to make your image and name look good in the media, dude, you got the wrong priorities, bro. Like you're spending a lot of time on stuff that doesn't matter. And if you truly want to lead people spiritually, you should repent and also not make it about you. I mean, he had a reality show. Being
the
John
Book
Gray.
of John Gray.
Oh, yeah,
The Book of John Gray.
Book of John Gray on the O Network, several seasons, and that was one of the things he had said. He had paid for it with money from the reality show. It's like, dude, that's everybody's chill with that. A reality show about the guy instead of. Dude, it's
Oh, if you haven't seen that, look it up to all the
It
listeners
is.
right now. You've got to watch the video of I think it was his meeting with Joel.
Yeah.
Where he
Yes.
told him that he was leaving. It's golden.
Super
you got to go
dramatic.
look it up.
And they're like, I need to tell you something. Bum 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 bum, and then they cut to
What
a
is
break,
it?
and you're like, what the heck? What the heck?
Hey, we got to hear this Ron Carpenter story.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
before
yeah.
that, who is that pastor who is that pastor from Florida who also is one of those hip? He did Kanye West's wedding. He officiated.
Rich Wilkerson
Kanye.
Jr.
Rich Wilkerson Jr. Yeah. So that's another. He also had a reality show called Rich in Faith, which
Yeah.
I'm like,
I've watched
who
the whole
approved
thing.
These? You did? How ludicrous was that? It was like I just got
Literally
to preach,
ludicrous.
and I'm backstage, and I'm putting on a nice freaking expensive shirt,
And I'd love to have sex with my wife, my hot wife.
And you're like, okay. Okay, so I'll tell a story. This is a story about a preacher whose name rhymes with Pawn Jarpenter, just to protect his identity.
Yeah.
So I used to travel a ton for work, and me
Doing
and
what?
for video production. We did video production.
Okay.
I worked for a production company in town, and we traveled around doing
Makes
training
sense.
videos,
Yep.
commercials, all these things. So the usual drill. We'd fly to Greenville, Charlotte, Greenville to Atlanta, then we'd fly to New York or yeet off to California or Oregon or something like that. So I don't remember where we came from, but we landed in Charlotte, and we were gonna fly from Charlotte back to Greenville, which is like a 30-minute flight. It's an easy flight. Anyways, I'm walking to the gate, and me and my three friends were walking to the gate, and I see Ron Carpenter and his wife, and dude, you would
Jacked
think
and
it's like
tan.
just like it was like a movie. He's holding a bunch of like a Gucci, like a Dolce and Gabbana bag. He's holding back like they had just shopped or whatever, and they're walking. And I'm like,
Wow.
yeah, like they had just like shopping bags, right? And they're
Airport
walking,
shopping, the most expensive.
the most expensive. And I'm like, okay. They're walking.
You're the people that do this, that actually buy stuff at the
Right.
airport.
I'm
that's
so
the thing.
poor that I didn't even know there was airport shopping.
Oh, dude, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I mean, it's like freaking. You'd get blankets and it's all like creams and shampoos, but it's like the glasses. It's ridiculous.
So there's more than just crappy Chinese food at a mall, not a mall, at an airport.
Get
this
whatever
man-
your heart desires in the airport.
This man's not even in the tax bracket to see the what rich people do.
Yeah, they don't even let me look.
Yeah, they're like, no, keep walking. Wait a second, keep walking. Anyways, so yeah, it was like a movie. Like he's walking, him and his wife are walking with these shopping bags, and I'm like, oh, I wonder if they're gonna be close to our gate. They walk ahead of us, we get lunch or whatever. I get to the gate, him and his wife are there, and I'm like, oh shoot, I wonder if we're gonna be on the same. I guess they're gonna be on our plane.
Same boarding class and everything, I'm
same
sure.
boarding class. Yeah, you know, we flew, we rolled deep, all right? So the Charlotte airport, I don't know if you've ever flown out of there. It's a big airport, but the local ones, you don't.
All the rocking chairs.
Yeah, there's a ton of rocking chairs and like the big windows. All airports have big windows, but so some of the terminals, like you don't walk off of, like on a chute or whatever to get to the plane. Sometimes you have to walk downstairs outside.
Yeah.
So you just walk outside and you like walk to the plane. So, you know, they call the classes, of course, upon Jarpenter, him and his wife, they walk first. They get called first, so they walk. So I'm like, okay, they're first class or whatever. They get on the plane, and then we, the peasants, you know, with our spindles, with our sticks, and, you know, freaking... You know, we're like walking, we're like shuffling, humming songs, and we're walking towards the plane, and so the steps to get up to the plane were like really steep. They're like the steps like the two. It's one of those things they just roll it up to the plane and you just gotta walk up.
Super secure.
It was like right. So we're all like leaving our suitcases or whatever, like hand luggages at the bottom of the plane. They're loading them up, and then people are walking onto the plane. So there's probably like 50, 60 people ahead of me, and we're all just chatting, whatever. It's pre-COVID, so we're all like a foot away from each other. And this one lady, like a heavier set lady, was climbing up. She was climbing up the steps to get onto the plane, and dude, she took one step, and then she took two steps, and then her left hand let go. In her right hand, I'm like watching this. She just like fell in slow motion, just started swinging. Oh no! And then she like no, and she just fell. She just fell back like 2 or 3 steps up, and everybody's like, oh no! So I'm like, oh my gosh, what's going on? I hope she's okay. But then like in the middle of the panic, I remembered. I'm like, oh wait a second. There's an apostle of God on the plane. Surely, the apostle called by God, John Charpenter.
First reaction.
He's got to do something, right? He's got to do something.
He's got a bias for action for the Lord.
We're in better hands than Allstate right now. Okay? He's got to do something. Dude, I kid you not. I'm back. There's still 40, 50 people ahead of me. People are crowded around the lady. They call, the ambulance or whatever. And then like a movie. I'm looking at because I could see the door to the plane. Ron Carpenter walks to the door of the plane. I see him. He peeks out, looks at the lady, looks at the rest of us, turns around and walks back to his seat, dude.
Back to his vodka tonic.
Back to his seat, yeah. And it cleared, and we walked up, and we passed him and his wife.
Hey, dude, he wasn't on the clock.
And
he was not on the clock, bro. He was on personal time. He was not on church time,
wait a second, what time is it? What time is this Rolex
He
saying?
needs that life-work balance.
Tuesday. Dude, and we passed it. They're sipping what looks like apple juice in first class. And I remember thinking, like, man, what?
Dude, you could have. What did you mutter to him as you walked by?
Fraud. I just said fraud.
Hey,
no.
hey, good look there, John.
It was so. I remember being the first we were talking about. We're like, what happened? What just happened?
You hate to see it.
How?
You hate to see it.
What should have happened?
You hate
right?
to see it, but you love to talk about it on a podcast.
Oh, I loved it.
Yes.
I'm gonna tell
Content
this
is
story.
king.
Yes.
I'm going to tell this story for a long time. But it was just one of those things, like you hear all these guys when they preach, they're always talking about, like I was in a restaurant. I heard the waitress crying. And I said, lady, come, all these stories of like, there's a pastor of Bethel who's on the record saying he raised someone from the dead on a plane. Someone died on the plane. They were like, is there a doctor on board? And he said, I know the great physician. Or I know
the best physician.
I know the best physician. And he, freaking put his hands, and this allegedly came back to life. So the way they make it sound, in their books and their talks, like, hey, I'm always on.
So if you're gonna get injured, you best do it around a megachurch pastor from the way they talk. But in reality,
but in reality, you're like,
you're an inconvenience.
Yeah,
only in between the hours of 9 to 5. Yeah, only in the hours that you're not writing your book. So right. 10 to noon, Tuesday through Thursday.
It was trippy, man. Yeah. I think about that. I'm like, was that a real thing? I gotta remind myself that was a real thing. I'm a real person who witnessed that.
Hey, I've got a game for us to play.
Oh, what is it?
I
heck yeah.
came up with a game. Are you familiar with Kat Kerr?
Kat Kerr?
Yes. Pink
No.
hair prophet
She's
lady.
a pink hair YouTube
Yeah,
prophet lady.
Ooh, send me your thing. What's her? Is she like Real Talk Kim? That's the one that I think of when I think of pink hair.
I don't know.
They
but
might be friends.
She has a lot of interesting ideas.
Oh,
so
there
I
she is,
created a
11,000
game.
followers.
Yeah, it's called Kat Kerrect or Kat Kerrfalse. And I'm gonna give you guys a quote, and you've got to guess if I came up with it or if she did.
Can you say the title of the game again?
Kat Kerrect or Kat Kerrfalse.
Oh yeah, she's with all the people that call themselves prophet. If your person is calling themselves a prophet, bro, run. Self-proclaimed prophet, bro. You better be 100% correct about everything you say.
Dude,
All right,
that's the thing, man. Okay.
Sorry.
Let's kick this off.
I'm excited.
Who wants to go first?
Do we want to read one and then we say we?
Well, no, I'm gonna give you a quote, and you
Okay.
have to guess if it's from Kat Kerr or if it's from me.
Tyler, you're gonna go first.
All
All right,
right.
I'll go. Yeah, I'm down.
First one, in heaven, you will have a star cruiser that runs on light, that you can get in and out and go all over heaven.
Okay, that's the first one.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
so
say Kat Kerrfalse.
that's from her.
Oh no!
She really said that. There's a
You ever
star
seen-
cruiser.
What is that from?
So my dad was watching like an hour lecture that she gave, and he would just send me a bunch of highlights. That was one of them.
Hour.
Yeah.
Dude, she goes off. You know, it's funny that you listen to something like that. You already know who she voted for, right? You know what I mean? You're like, I know what you believe. A star cruiser?
Yeah.
Read the last half of that. What is that?
In heaven, you'll have a star cruiser that runs on light, and you can get in and out and go everywhere.
Dude, watch us actually have a star cruiser in heaven, though. We're gonna be
wanna go next?
smited.
We freaking just jet by her like, sorry, Kat Kerr. Sorry, Kat Kerr.
I'm so sorry, Kat.
No. She pulls up next to us like, hey, what did I remember? The 50-minute lecture?
I tried to tell y'all.
Remember?
All right, you're up, Shama.
Okay.
The food is made of light, but it smells like steak, pizza, and barbecue chicken.
I'm gonna say Kat Kerrect.
Yep, she said that too.
The food is made of light,
But it smells like steak, pizza, and barbecue chicken. But
All at once, huh?
But why is it just those three? It's like whatever food you get in heaven, it's gonna be steak, pizza, or barbecue chicken, and it's not gonna smell like anything else.
As resident meat man, is that even a correct pairing?
I'd say go for it, but
Vegans don't go to heaven.
So I wonder if at one point, I believe in, the people operate in the prophetic. I know of people who've operated in the prophetic. Do you think at one point, like she hit, maybe she hit a couple of bullseyes, but then after that she was like, I like steak, pizza, and barbecue. that heaven food be like that. How about
I really feel like
y'all
she's
see
just
that?
she's just
Stuff
riffing.
that you can never
Like-
validate. Just
Yeah,
like
yeah,
I only
yeah.
prophesy stuff you'll never be able to validate until it's too late.
It's just, she's just riffing at this point. She's kind of like, oh, y'all are still around? Stargazer Cruiser. How about that? If you see Star Wars, heaven be like that. That's exactly what it is.
All right, I'm gonna throw it to Chase.
Oh boy.
Whenever you get angry, it gives God a headache.
That's you.
Yes, that is me.
Yeah. That's got a PD joke written all over it.
You I love the idea of God just Tim Tebowing like. Ugh. That's how Tim Tebow fans
Hey,
into your headaches. By the way,
I've got a few more, so let's circle back to you.
Let's hit it.
King David is beautiful. If I saw him bathing on a rooftop, I'd probably try to do what he did to Uriah.
I'm gonna say it's Kat Kerrect, but it's shameful if so.
I made that one up.
Okay, praise. Good. I was about to be pissed.
hold up. I don't know what's worse right now.
I'd probably do it to him.
Kat
He did
Kerr
the Uriah.
or the fact fact that PD made that up. I don't know. It's just as worse. You're a cat cur. Read it again. King David was
King
beautiful.
David is beautiful. If I saw him bathing on a rooftop, I'd probably try to do what he did to Uriah.
This is so
You need to repent.
stupid.
I could be a ghostwriter for her.
Yes. Yes, you could.
All right,
You should submit a packet. You're like, hey, 2021.
Hey, Kat, I got a few bits for you. Take them or leave them, but I think they're in line with your current brand.
All right, we're back to you, Shama.
Oh my gosh.
If you loved whales and dolphins when you were on Earth, you will have an underwater mansion in the Crystal Sea. There's a portal where you go out and swim in the Crystal Sea and breathe the water, and then when you go back in your mansion, you're dry.
Oh.
So it's just instant dry.
I'm gonna go with Kat Kerrect.
That is Kat Kerrect.
You can breathe if you like dolphins in heaven. That's how it started?
Yeah, if you loved whales and dolphins when you were on Earth, you'll have an underwater mansion.
Okay.
And for $99.99, you can have the blueprints to your
What?
underwater mansion.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, like, she's not trying, is she? She was just trying to appeal to people. Do you like whales and dolphins? Hey, Tyler, you like whales and dolphins, right?
Yeah.
Well, in heaven, how does this sound? How does this sound, right? How does this sound?
Yeah.
If
I'm
when you
listening.
get there,
This is what happens when you go up with
underwater
no
mansion,
material.
you can breathe in the water. You know, the heavenly properties of water.
Yes, this is
you
what I've
breathe
been
them in
missing
and
on
out.
Earth.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do two more.
Okay.
This is for Chase. I talk about Trump a lot because that's what God talks to me about.
That's Kat Kerrect.
Yeah, that's Kat
Yeah, that's
Kerrect.
Kat Kerrect.
God only wants to talk about Donald.
I know
okay?
that's what's on his
He's the
mind.
chosen one, bro.
Yeah. All right, and then we got
That is so. Is this okay? That's so
Yeah.
dumb.
we got one more.
Is this for Tyler?
Yes.
Tell me.
yes.
All right.
Let me see. Jesus is 6 feet tall and very muscular. His eyes are like liquid pools of love.
I'll just say Kat Kerrfalse or whatever the false option is, because that sounds like
Kat
a PDism.
Kerrect.
God dang it!
Jesus is muscular and he's tall.
And he's
taller
got
than
what type of eyes?
Oh, liquid pools of love.
I feel like that's not how Revelation describes things. I feel like there's more like swords and fire in his eyes.
Dude.
Maybe I'm making that up.
But yeah, she describes these as her revelations.
Dude, that's a good follow. I didn't know about her until just now, so
Oh,
hopefully
yeah.
she gives out more gold.
Hopefully
Yeah.
she buys something expensive so you can post about her.
Yeah, for real. It's been dry now that nobody goes to church anymore.
Catch her in some worn out chacos. Be like, got her, ladies and gentlemen. we got her. Hey man, hey, this has been really really good. Tyler, you got a bunch of stuff coming up, right? The book.
I do.
Anything else that you're excited about? We're keeping up, man.
I mean,
we're invested.
I've got the cleverly named podcast, the Preachers and Sneakers podcast, that I'm proud of. I've taken a break for the past couple weeks just because, I mean, real talk, the ad buy ended, and so I'm just taking a break because I'm not owing any ads anymore. But so yeah, the podcast is what I really like doing. The Instagram and Twitter and TikTok is all there at Preachers and Sneakers. But the book is the biggest thing that I'm ready to get done. It's coming out April 27th, and I should be doing some type of media reveal in the next couple weeks, which I'm
Awesome.
excited about, just to be able to like talk about it in open and be like, yeah, I'm the guy that did the thing. You know, I'm not an unemployed loser like a lot of you have thought. So, and I'm not a troll. So yeah, the book I wrote over the past, I basically, while I was finishing up business school, I wrote the book. So from February 20 basically to July of 20, I wrote the book, and it's all edited and everything, and it's going to come out at all the good retailers. And I think it'll be good. It's some of it's the story about the account, but a lot of it is based around the state of the church, kind of like we've talked about a little bit, and also some of the questions that came up from the account that people started asking about, like, is it okay to get rich off God? What do we do with Christian celebrities? Should pastors use their platforms for political gain? church merge. What do we do? Should we audit ourselves on social media? Like all these different things that aren't super comfy topics, but seem important to me. And I did my best to try to find smarter people to answer the questions. And it would be awesome if people checked it out. But if not, that's cool too. Pirate it, whatever it takes to get the content in your hands. But so that's April 27th.
Dude, I can't wait, man. I can't wait. I'm so excited. It's one of those things that like, it's really, really cool to. Some of us know we know that things have been wrong and bad for a long time, but the fact that like now it's like, hey, like Preachers and Sneakers came out, like all the press that got, I'm like, hey, good.
Yeah, people care.
Good,
yeah,
good.
And I
this
feel
is
like
really, really good.
A lot of people probably had the same reaction that I did when I saw your page, which was like, man, I wish I had thought of that.
Dude.
Yeah.
But it's also like I don't know about. I wear the same.
I can't. There's no way I could see those and like find them and figure out how much they cost.
It was very much.
Adidas's.
It was very much a luck timing thing. Like I just happened to be having grown up in that world, and also been into sneakers and had the free time. It's like there was a lot of things, and I think a lot of people were thinking about that kind of thing, but not saying it out loud, because it is kind of like, it's self-indicting, because once you start being like, I don't know if this guy should do this or that, and then you basically have to be like, well, should I do that, or do I give enough, or do I spend money on stupid stuff?
You better not be caught wearing anything like remotely expensive.
Hey, yeah, you better. So let's assume,
dude, I'm fully bought in. I'm fully bought in that I'm a raging hypocrite as it is. So like, I'm not really worried about whatever I wear, because people have called me everything under the moon.
For the press, you should double down and get like some some Air Shacks or whatever they sell at Walmart.
Oh, like the Reeboks?
Just like double down and just get like Payless shoe, like
a whole forearm of Rolexes.
Yes,
a whole just Rolexes, just iced out. But like you're like, hey, I'm anti shoes, baby. I could do what I want. Peep the ice.
Or you just say, hey, I'm not a pastor.
I'm not a pastor, bro.
Yeah, a pastor.
It doesn't apply to me.
Yeah.
But I mean, let's be real. Like my thing blew up 2 years ago, but I'm also talking to dudes that are just on the come up in the TikTok world. I mean, the past 3 or 4 videos y'all have put out have been complete bangers, better than any megachurch sermon that I've seen in a while. Like the old guy at camp was perfect. The sex is awesome, don't do it was I didn't stop thinking about that for days and days and days, because
that
it's
character was just like a composite of all the people we've met.
Yeah, we've been to so many camps and conferences. We're like, they're all the same person. It's all the same person.
It is, and it's also but it's I really appreciate niche commentary type comedy, because it's got a lot of truth in it, where it's like, these guys would outline how hot the wives are and how awesome sex is and how worth it is to wait, but don't do it. Right. Piss me off, bro, because it's like, dude, lie to us. Tell us it's horrible or something, because this is all I want to do right now. 14-year-old Preach McSneak. Like, all I want to do is
Preach McSneak.
So I really love that, and obviously,
are you pitching an NBC show right now? Is that what you're doing? Follow young Tyler. It's been Preach McSneak.
Dude, I'm still caught up.
SNL.
I've been caught up on Dusty Pews and Judgy Grandmas. That's a great title.
Heck
from way earlier in the podcast.
I like it. Hey, that one's for free. Take it if you want it.
Oh yeah, that's right above.
And then obviously the worship video, the Action Church. Or action verb, whatever. That got shared around to all my people, and that was so perfect, because it is like, if you look at the collective, like a macro level of all these churches, it is like, I've seen Action Church, now I'm blanking. Action Church, Redemption Church, Relevant Church,
Elevation,
Transformation Church, Elevation Church. It's literally
I've seen Potential Church, which I'm like,
Potential
Church.
Like will
you be
there.
one? Will you? Will they? Won't they? Yeah. You know, something that we really like, which is, you know, what you're doing as well, is PD and I, we have conversations about this stuff frequently, and other people will. They're like, oh, you just made a video about like worship. You should make a follow-up video about like what true worship is, or like, hey, you're talking about shoes. You should what should the kingdom of God really? But I'm like, that can't be explained on Instagram
in a joke format.
Right? It can't be explained in a minute or 30 seconds. Same thing with, like, you know, the terrible guest speakers, like loose cannon guest speaker. But like, what should a guest speaker really? I'm like, hey, that's not it. That's what we're highlighting. These conversations, long form, your book, your podcast, this podcast exists because I'm like, hey, we can flesh this out more and better than just kind of like, hey guys, we just wanted to hop back in, like talking real fast. Like that's not, you can't convey, we can't talk like theology and beliefs in that context, which people don't understand.
Yeah, and one, like, the opposite side of those things isn't as funny or entertaining. And so to make short form content on the opposite side, like people all the time are like, oh, you should do like pastors with like regular shoes, like Francis Chan. I'm like, okay, so people would totally love to see, here's some freaking Birkenstocks or whatever. But I agree, and that's why I wrote the book, and not to be a shameless promoter, but that's why I did it, because some of these things are really important, and hopefully like getting people to laugh about it or at least think about it is hopefully an attraction to think deeper about it, and the book being the next step. And like the podcast, our podcasts, yours and mine, hopefully are an attempt at that. Like I'm an idiot, and I try to. It cannot be overstated how unqualified I am. Like I have no church, or I have no theology training. I'm not even interested in really like learning other than what I need to be saved, But like I didn't know what exegesis was until a year into this account. And so
that's how you pronounce that?
I guess, yeah. Exegesis, I think, is the proper. And so people think that I claim to have the answers, but I really don't have any of the answers, and don't pretend to be like holier than thou. But I do think there are some things that even if it's ironic that I also sell hoodies, I think it's worth asking, hey, do we care too much about merch? Do we care too much about brands? Like, are we too obsessed with how we look? All that kind of stuff. And if it means I get raked over the coals for looking like a hypocrite at worst, or just being ironic at best, I think it's worth it. Like making the jokes and causing the discussion seems to be important, even if it's imperfect. Yeah.
Another thing too, one really cool thing is also, it kind of I think Christianity is, we've been fractured. Before the internet, we didn't know what youth groups in like Minneapolis did or whatever.
Yeah.
But the internet is kind of united. Like we're able to like compare notes. So the loose cannon guest speaker, a lot of the comments were like you too, like you guys, you've been to it. Like somebody commented like, oh, one of these guys like ran me out of church. Like that's why I've never been back.
Yeah.
Which is very sad. And I was like, oh, do I need to comment like witness? But I'm like, this is very sad. But it's also like, I'm like, I hope it's relieving for them to know that their experience wasn't uncommon, right? Like this isn't. People are insensitive and dumb like this, and something needs to change.
But
you know what I mean?
The depressing thing is the small contingent of people who seem to agree with that guy.
Oh, dude, yeah, they do. Be spitting
that
facts,
message
though.
low key fire though. He actually spit fire though. I saw that. I think
right.
That's the problem. That's the problem. The people that are like, oh, he's kind of bringing a word though.
What is it?
Yeah, like he said the Earth was flat, but he's spitting.
I mean, he's spitting. What did we end with? Was like you don't need
antidepressants. You need to be in his presence.
It was like, hey, that last line was actually true.
I saw
I'm like,
that.
all right,
Come
Pentecostal.
on,
all right, Pentecostal. All right, you don't need to go to a doctor. You don't need nothing. You stub your toe, pray about it.
It's
like,
presence,
okay,
bro.
Okay.
We're doing the same thing that we did a decade ago at conferences, which is just like watch the guy on stage and make fun of him.
Right.
But now we do it for lots and lots of people.
Yeah. There's a couple of guys, who commented who were like actually like guest speakers, and they're like, ha ha ha, this is me. And I'm like, and you're not offended?
Don't be proud of that, bro.
They're like, but hey, booking email below. I'm like, what the heck?
It's the same. Like I've had several guys kind of like on the lower tier, straight up message me like, hey, bro, here's a pic of me preaching these Burberrys, like $550.
He just wants the follows.
Asking to get on the thing.
Really?
Or asking for a mention, or asking for a promo, all that kind of stuff. I'm like, dude, you guys don't get it.
Wait, is Joel really that desperate?
Very desperate. He was the first. Yeah.
Joel's like, hey baby, I got these from Men's Warehouse, Mr. PreachersNSneakers.
Oh yeah,
Would you mind putting me on?
We need to explain that whenever we do a Joel Osteen impression, we say baby a lot.
It's just I'm Joel, baby. That's it. I'm on the G5 with the honeys, baby.
So he's more like the ladies' man instead of Joel Osteen. Exegesis is the lady's
Wait a
name.
second. I gotta ask. Have people who reached out to you, have they offered money?
Not the preachers, no. I mean, there have been different brands that, or Instagram dudes that are trying to come up, basically, how much for a feature? Looking to pay like $7. Looking to pay $7. And I'd be like, yeah, it's $1,500, bro. Yeah, pay me $1,500 and I'll put you on. Basically saying no, because I'm not gonna put on some rando sneaker reseller.
I think
People are confident.
Yeah. Well, and they'll shoot their shot because it costs them nothing. And
But what I found, having a Christian meme page is somebody will copy a message, and because I'm in a group with some other Christian meme pages from Deuteronomy memes, we'll all send the same message that we got from somebody. So people just copy and paste.
Yeah, it's all
and send to
They're doing
everybody
the Gary
and
V
hope
thing.
somebody.
They're doing the Gary V thing where it's just message 500 of the most important people that you follow, and I mean that's basically how it coaches people up to get engagement. Offer them some free value, and that's how it starts.
It's you'll get 10%. If you get 10% of 1,000, which is hey man, hey, I hate you and I hate the people doing what you're saying.
Just be good.
That's it.
There's certain people where I do feel fortunate, I don't deserve a platform, and so I feel fortunate and I want to put people on where it seems like either they're talented or they are humble about what they do. I've had people reach out and be like, hey, I did this. There's this one guy that sketches random black and white pictures of sermons and stuff, and he did a couple sketches of me interviewing somebody on the podcast. I'm like, dude, I'll put you on for that, bro. You've got legit talent. You're not asking for anything. You're just sending me this thing that looks really cool. I want to use my platform to hook as many people up as possible, just because it's I know it's very much a privilege to have something like this, and I don't think so highly of myself that I'm gonna be so exclusive, because it's just this could go away tomorrow. So
and I think that's you touched on a really good thing, is PD and I talk about this a ton, where it's we were on the other side for a long time. Of watching sketches and comedy and all these things, and then being fans. So now slowly, not aspiring we're gonna get to that level, but slowly, and now people reach out to us. It's kind of whoa, wait a second. Do they think we're somebody?
Yeah.
Do they think,
you don't realize how nobody I am.
What?
But it is that's where you have to be careful. It's that feeling feels pretty good. To have somebody say dude, you're hilarious. You guys never miss.
Yeah, it can get weird real quick though.
Yeah.
But I mean, let's be honest.
I responded. I think all I did was double tap somebody's message on Deuteronomy.
And they saw you. They saw it.
They recorded themselves screaming in their car. And they're our response to your
Yeah. It's just dude, if we're your idols, bro, you got to get out there and start living some life, bro.
I was I'm on the toilet right now. You don't need to be celebrating this.
90% of my content has come from the toilet or the couch, pretty much, I'd say. So,
man, this has been really, really good, man. Thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I'm
really impressed with you guys and think you guys are hilarious and think you guys get it, and you're able to pinpoint things that I've always thought were hilarious in a special way. So
thank you, man.
I was honored to come on.
Dude, people have validated you have validated our content. I've had 10 friends be like, dude, Preachers and Sneakers commented on your thing, and I'm like, yeah, I mean, yeah, he did. He's we cool. He's coming. He's doing the bot.
I mean, I told a friend.
We got burgers. We got
I told a friend you were coming on the podcast, and he's like, "Where do you get the podcast?" And he actually subscribed right when I told him.
That's the only time he's
coming on.
Heck yeah, dude. I'm happy to do that.
I love that you called that person a friend. That's not your friend, Peter.
Yeah, that's not a
real friend.
Although my wife hasn't listened to any of my podcasts either, so it's not that big of a deal.
Dude, my wife doesn't listen to my podcast either. And she's better.
We hear your voice enough, jackass.
Yeah, it's the pod. She gets the podcast. She's gonna get the podcast regardless, right?
If Grace started a podcast, would you be a subscriber?
I probably doubt it. I can't.
I would subscribe, Grace.
You know what's funny? Why are you talking to her? She's not going to listen to this.
I'll DM you this clip later, Grace.
Hey, it's been a ton of fun. Hey, we end with praise reports. First of all, we're going to check in with our producer, Chase, who you can't see, sorry. But he's in the corner. We got a cam on him. Time for checking in with Chase.
Joker from Batman.
Yep.
When I was a child, I was terrified of Joker from Batman. And so at night when I would brush my teeth and get ready for bed, I thought Joker was on the other side of the curtain, the shower curtain. And so my thought process was, well, he's going to kill me unless I say a lot of really nice stuff about him. So I'd just be sitting there like, he's got some good ideas.
For real?
Yeah, like legitimately at 8 years old, I was sitting there and I was like, Batman's a little unnecessary at times.
You're gassing up, Joker.
Yeah, and
Your parents
he never
like,
killed
what the
me.
heck is this guy doing?
What's going on?
Hey, I mean, it worked.
It
I
didn't
still
kill
did.
you.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah,
You
so
survived.
that's what's up with me.
Yeah. Well, that was checking in with Chase.
Let's check it out with Chase. Well, I don't know how long this segment's going to last, but I think now forever. Even if we stop doing the show, I'm just
Yeah,
going to
like
check in
even
with
if you
Chase.
can't produce the show, we'll call you
We're
to
going to
check
call
in
you
with
to be able to
Chase.
check in. PD, what's your praise report, dog?
My praise report is that I just got to listen to some Kat Kerr, really dive into her stuff,
Yes.
and
that'll
it's
preach.
really I can't wait to get my mansions.
Yeah. The underwater one
Underwater
with the
mansion,
breathe in
star
water.
ship. Ship.
Underwater. I got
Barbecue
one
chicken.
made of water.
What is it? All the food tastes like pizza and barbecue chicken, right?
The food is made of light,
Oh.
and it tastes like it smells like steak, pizza, and barbecue chicken.
Just smell.
Just theological.
Yeah, she didn't say anything about taste.
Tastes a little bland, but it smells great.
She also said that I think she's predicting Democrats are gonna die or something. Like she's out there.
Solid. Yeah. Good looks.
Dude, man, what is my praise report? Man, that we were able to do this podcast, man. This has been
Heck yeah.
this has been a huge blessing, and super excited that it's been a great conversation, and to hear you talk about it, man, it's been
I agree.
really, really awesome.
Super fun.
And I hope people enjoy it too, man. I think these are the starting a dialogue, like that phrase is so overused, but more than anything, it's always great to have a dialogue about this stuff, because I think it helps people, like I'm one of those people. I'm gonna get serious before we land, but I'm one of those people that I say, like, I've listened to a bunch of sermons. My dad was a pastor and he had a doctorate in theology, so I heard even the devotions at home were theologically
Leviticus.
sound and all these elements, and he had 7 books around him to read from, and same in Bible college. I went to Bible college and the churches that I've been to, but I think what's helped me the most in my walk has just been conversations like this, to compare notes and to be like, hey, what do you feel about this, and what do you think, and is this wrong, and is it wrong for just you? Oh, it's wrong for everybody. I think it's extremely helpful.
Yeah.
So hopefully somebody doesn't listen to this and be like, those 3 white guys and that black dude were very angry at rich pastors. You know what I mean?
I got PTSD when you said you're about to land from the
from
youth
my
day.
sermon.
About to land the
I'm
plane.
about to land.
Well, he would say that he was going to land, and then 30 minutes would go by, and then it would end.
I was not a good youth. I was PD's youth pastor. That's how I knew him. When he was 10, I started going to this church. And
Are you for real? That's a real thing?
Yeah. Yeah. And he was. I
He's
thought
the only guy
that
that stuck around.
Yeah. So I was a volunteer in youth ministry, and then I was the youth pastor for a bit, and PD gave me such a hard time. But we always hung out. We always would grab meals together and hang out. And finally, we're like, hey, we should do a podcast, and then to write together. And yes, it's been 10 years. I'm going on 11 years now coming. So
Dang.
it's been
That's
crazy, man. Yeah,
Oh, it's been
crazy.
a decade plus.
Insane.
Wow.
Insane. And we still at it.
That's awesome.
But this has been really good, man. Hey, we're gonna link all your stuff in the show notes.
Thank you.
So people are gonna check you out. If we're gonna buy the book, we're gonna buy the book.
Please
we're gonna buy
do.
the books. We're gonna buy the book.
Yeah.
We're gonna review it. However way, just let us know. However way it helps.
We won't trash
helps
it
the
the way we
process.
trash Joel's, I promise.
We're gonna get it. We're gonna
Leave a fake 5-star review. Amazon sees
We'll be like,
doesn't see
"Man,
right through that at all.
This cured my acne. I have a little bit of lazy eye. That's no longer.
Heck yeah,
But
dude.
no, I think it's gonna be awesome, man. So, best of luck and many blessings to you on your
Thank you.
journey.
Oh,
I've
thank
never
you,
told that to a
Baruch
guest.
Adonai.
Thank
Thank you for the. Thanks for giving me some time, and again, I think you guys are hilarious, and I'm honored to be here. So we're both just dudes, making fun of stuff, but also trying to discuss that as we leave. You made me think of one thing when you were saying these discussions are helpful, or the most helpful thing. I agree. And one email that I got from a listener of my podcast, this is a little self-serving, but it just stuck out to me because one guy emailed me and all he said was, it's just nice to know that there are people out there that can ask questions and follow Jesus at the same time instead of like people vilifying you for being like, I don't know if I believe this, bro, or like, why do we believe this? And that really stuck out to me because I think that's how we get a more authentic faith. If we're willing to say, dude, I don't know, but I also want to spend some energy trying to at least get better or at least figure things out for myself instead of having it just served up to me on Instagram or whatever. So all that to say is thanks for having me, guys. And I hope you guys continue. Keep up with the TikTok. I mean, it's serving me, blessing me. And
we're not slowing down.
Hey, we just filmed another loose cannon guest speaker too, like 30 minutes ago. So
heck yeah.
that'll be
where we expound on the quadrinity a little bit.
The quadrinity. I think it's a quadrinity.
PD was like, say the quadrinity is the Trinity plus the infinity.
Oh.
which I just yelled and I'm like sweating. And I'm like, this is more confusing than the quadrinity line. Because now a time span element has been added to this ridiculous statement.
Stupid.
Yeah, but hey, man, this has been that about that.
And that's that about this, right?
We're trying out a new outro. Obviously, we don't know it. We don't know what we're saying. Tyler, thanks so much, man.
Thank you for having me.
See ya.